my mentors and somebody that I just look up to and actually helped me get back on my feet from a running aspect. But more than that, I mean, one of the most transformational leaders that I know, and just a great human being, the Mr. Coach B himself, Bertrand Newson. Thank you so much for joining, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, man. I mean, I know we chopped it up a bit before we press record, but all the respect to you, Ray. We go back a long way, a lot of deep roots. Actually, spending some time living on the same block for a while that got us connected, and to see how you have flourished. You're already a beast when I met you. You're already an accomplished soccer player. I think ran at San Jose State for a bit. And knew that you were always still putting in work, being a coach, mentoring youth. But when we started to, hit the road and trails and track together, man, and just to see where your journey has taken you, your ability to inspire others, and particularly your siblings, Bree, and Anthony, your mother, just your family overall, man, just really, really good stuff. So I've been looking forward to this conversation for a while. So let's roll up the sleeves and chop it up.
I was thinking about that, going down memory lane. I was thinking about that 2012 moment where you kind of helped reignite my flame again and my belief in myself more than just running. And I just think, I was at that time in my life. I wasn't saying I was screwing up, but I was going through a little growth phase in my life. And, that sense of community, those early days of too legit to quit, that really helped pave the way for kind of where I am now. So I thank you for that. And, and again, on that path, just like I said, your leadership style is something that I admire a ton. And I tell you that, at least a few times a year. So again, thank you for that.
Mad love and respect for you, man. Thank you for that.
Yeah. So with that, Bertrand, I mentioned 2012, the Oakland Relay, you helped me get on my feet there. I believe the roots of Too Legit started a year or two prior to that. Do you want to talk a little bit about that and the inspiration on how Too Legit started?
Yeah, thank you for that question, Razor. Yeah, Oakland, is really where it all started for the most part. My first time running event as a later in life runner was part of a 4-person marathon relay team. So I was 1/4 of that. I had started running in like late 2010, early 2011, and got the bug. And, being someone who's been very social, being in the hospitality business, I managed hotels for 30 years. So being able to bring people together, falling into running, and in particular that city, after let's see here, in that particular event, it was humbling. Okay, I will share why. My first time to being a little nervous and intimidated, maybe a bit out over my skis. What I found out very quick, Ray, is that the running community is very friendly and welcoming. What I mean by that is, as then probably, 6'1", probably 225, with sweatpants on, long sleeve hoodie, gloves, neck buff, overdressed. And I thought I was being slick by choosing the shortest leg in that particular Oakland Marathon relay that was just about 5.5 miles. What I didn't know, being a rookie runner, is that it had the most elevation. So I was humbled real quick. And as we like to say, hills pay the bills, but at the time, coach was not paying those bills. So I got my ass handed to me. But as I was trekking my way up the hills of Oakland, I got like pats on the back. I got fist pumps. I got attaboys. You got this. Hang in there. They can size me up and see that I was a rookie, but I love the support. And then being part of a team within that event, and then giving the timing trip to the third leg runner, and then be able to make my way over to the finish. That to me, again, being a rookie, there were probably, 100 yards with spectators 25 feet deep on both sides. You had the mayor of Oakland out there. At the time, the Oakland Raiders were still in Oaktown. You had the Raiderettes out there at the finish line. It seemed like the Olympics to me, man. I didn't know any better. It was fantastic. So from that point, I was hooked. And that's, I think, March of 2011. And I think that year I ended up doing about 25 events. And then a year later, embarked on my first marathon journey in San Francisco in 2012. Kind of the rest is history. So Yeah, so Oakland is where the roots are, but there was an event that happened in Southern California, a Warrior Dash, that my brother, Bernardo, Chris Smith, and a couple other good friends, Jim Cordoba, we made our way down there and as a group participated in that 5K muddy event and had a blast. And that energy, that momentum carried back up here to Northern California. And then I really look at that event in Oakland, or those two events as the first two legit, to quit at that time, now Too Legit Fitness, the start of our running club.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, I remember witnessing that. You had like a few people that you were working with at the hotels that you were managing at the time, and maybe just a couple outside friends. And then in 2012, I joined along and just joined that relay. But then after that, I met Bernardo at the San Francisco. Was it Urban?
Yeah, the Urban Athlon.
Yeah. That was another memorable time. I had a great time. Your brother's an awesome dude. So
yeah, and then for him to be able to participate with you, and I caught a lot of shit, man. I'm sorry, I don't know if I can drop a little bit of profanity on this. Because we had 5 or 6 other teams in that Urban Athlon team event, and they felt that I had a ringer. So you put all the teams together, and you have Ray. It all worked out. We were actually behind at a point in that race, and you and my brother saved me because I was dragging ass on that relay. But I had a great time, and I missed those days of team events in a relay format with some sense of camaraderie, fellowship, and competition. Good stuff.
Yeah, totally. Early days, super fun. So I just wanted to call out, not to do any comparisons because Bay Area run groups are amazing, but I will say you are one of the founding fathers of Bay Area run groups. So.
Yeah, thank you. It takes a village for sure. And you've been a part of that from basically the inception of the run club. You've seen the evolution of the running community, the ups and downs, pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, the growth of CrossFit and people kind of, figuring out, what type of athlete, whether more physique driven versus cardio based. Now coming out of the pandemic and seeing all these run clubs flourish. And there's nothing like people having a safe space to go to and being seen and be able to get their fit on and connect and grow their social circles. So it's the gift that kind of keeps on giving.
Yeah. What inspires your motivation? One, I think you're a great community builder, but creating continuous opportunities within that community. I mean, your consistency just in that aspect of it has been, visible from day one. So where does that stem from?
That's an excellent question, Ray. Let's see here. I think for me, at my core, it's within my DNA. I just love the sense of community and bringing people together. And when you listen to your internal temperature gauge and you lean into what makes you happy, where you feel good, that emotional compass can guide you. So I've listened to that as I've gotten older. And the best parts of my life have flourished because I've been able to do that. And a lot of times we find ourselves kind of in a rut. Sometimes we are working in a profession that pays the bills. And that is great. But when your passion aligns with your profession, for me, anything that I've done with social fitness, it has never, ever felt like work. And you have people like yourself, other friends and family members say, hey, we had a good time. When is the next race? When is the next hike? When is the next walk? All those things are fantastic. So again, I guess the lesson is listening to your inner compass and leaning into happiness, and good things happen from there.
Yeah. And I think one thing that's cool about you is you'll always see you prior to the race, and you will always be there to the end. You'll cross the finish line, and it seems like you're just on the course cheering people on because it's many of their first times out there, and you're just encouraging people trying to meet their next goal. So that's something that I appreciate.
Yeah, thank you for that. We use the example, Ray, that imagine yourself the first day at a new school, first day at a new job, first day in a new classroom, and you're kind of looking around. You feel like a sense of I don't really belong. You see that there may be some groups of individuals who may be a little cliquey. Or if you find yourself at a race and you're with a group and your group has different fitness levels, some people are going to finish faster, some people are going to finish slower. We never want those people in the middle of the pack or back of the pack to feel that there's no shine on them, there's no acknowledgement on them. So being able to get back out on the course and show them love and run them into the finish, I think I'm glad you pointed out, because that's one thing that I think we've been known to do. We've seen other running groups do that as well. But yeah, it's great because I mean, we've all been there, but maybe you not as much because you're usually out there in the front of the pack, chasing down a podium finish. We know how you roll, man. But you have always gotten back out there as well and shown the love to all runners. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, such a good community within Too Legit, of course, because I know many of the team personally, but just to see the communities grow even outside of that. Yeah, it's just such a great community overall. So awesome. So you mentioned 2012, you ran your first marathon. I know you're up there, and I want to say it's past 70-ish marathon. Where are you at now, number-wise, on your marathon?
Oh, man. It's a labor of love. And to answer your question directly, because usually I try to skirt around this issue. I don't like the spotlight on me that way. You know what I'm saying?
Something to be proud of.
Yeah. So this past December, geared out with my most lid,
Nice.
I completed my 80th marathon. So
fantastic. That's remarkable. That's we're talking 2012. That's like 5+ marathons a year, if I did the math correctly.
Yeah, thereabouts. There've been some years where it's been one or two. I think one year I did as many as 12 or 13.
Wow.
I'm just trying to find the balance where you have family and work obligations and all those other things, but still finding the time to put in the work and enjoy the journey. And sometimes I find myself racing, but as of late, mostly time on feet and chasing finish line versus finish time, but still enjoying myself in the process.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's remarkable. And I mean, no, I'm not setting an expectation, but is there a specific goal out there? Or are you just kind of going with the flow and seeing what you land? Do you want to get to 100? What's any motivations there personally?
Hey man, well, our motto is too legit to quit, right? And to be about it. So Ray, at this stage in my athlete career, I'm just happy to be able to lace up the shoes in a 5K and finish healthy. Lace up the shoes, the kicks and the sneaks in a 10K and finish healthy. Half marathon. So I don't take a race for granted. So to answer your question, I mean, if I can, that 100 marathon has always been there, kind of speaking to me in the background. But I'm at a stage, I've had some health challenges over the last few years that have allowed me to kind of slow down the pace and be very intentional with how many races I'm going to knock out. But yeah, I think that if I'm able to stay on track and by the grace of God, if I'm able to get, to knock on the door at 100 marathons at some point, or if this past marathon in December was my final marathon, because I'm very present in those races, because that just crossed my mind that you can't take it for granted. At any race, it could be your last for whatever reason. So, but thank you for asking. Yeah,
definitely something to be proud of, regardless of where you land. So I'm not trying to push it along the issue, but hey, that's just remarkable in itself. And you have a few others on the team. Even Becky is now up there, and I mean,
she's knocking on the door. I think she's at 57 and change. She and a couple of our teammates are training for the 2025 Mesa Marathon. I think the 8th of February, and her and a couple others are chasing down personal bests and BQ efforts. So yeah, that I think will be 57 or 58 for her.
The leaders are Too Legit, leading by example always. Love it. Love it. So sticking with Too Legit, the organic growth of Too Legit has just been remarkable to see. It doesn't even feel like you're forcing the issue or anybody else on the team is forcing the issue. It's just been an organic growth. You guys had some tremendous partnerships over the past couple of years with, Rock and Roll Half Marathon Series, Lululemon, to name a few, Soul Focused Sports, I believe. Can you talk a little bit about that and just like how those came about? And was it something that you were searching out for, or what was the organic path of that?
Yeah. Ray, you you hit the nail right on the head in regards to, I think it was just organic. We were kind of tapped on the shoulder by Lululemon. I was and our run club leadership to help host their weekly Tuesday evening run club, going back now 3 years, which is hard to believe. And we remember that it was occasionally like once a month, then every 2 weeks. And then I think 2 years ago, we made the decision to they asked, hey, can you have support here every Tuesday? And we said, for sure. And this past year, I mean, we had as many as 125, 130 people out there on a Tuesday evening. In many cases, 10 to 15 newbies every Tuesday, people finding out about us organically. So Lululemon reached out. Rock and Roll Race Series, when we started pacing that event in 2021 in the midst of the pandemic, one of my dear friends and mentors, Coach Jay Ridgway of Pac West Endurance, a renowned endurance coach, a lot of knowledge in the coaching game, graduate of Santa Teresa High School and also Oregon. He saw me at a Rock and Roll Race Expo back in 2015. It was the first year I was going to run the Chicago Marathon, which happened to be a week later. So they were pacing the San Jose Rock and Roll at the time. And he sized me up and said, okay, you're running Rock and Roll San Jose, but you're also doing Chicago in a week. At the time, I didn't know any better, man. But his question was, because, I'm 6'1" and, 200 pounds, is from a nutrition standpoint, how was I feeling for performance? That conversation led to a deep-rooted friendship. Fast forward to 2001, Coach Jay, who had shepherded the pacing duties for the San Jose Rock and Roll since that race's inception, handed that over to us. So the stewardship, and we felt honored because we're all locals. I mean, we run the streets of San Jose. So for us to have that opportunity to carry the torch, to carry the pay stick, and pay it forward to our local running community, it's been fantastic. Being part of people's first half marathon or helping them navigate from start to finish and get a personal best has been very, very fulfilling. And much like I use the example of our crew going back on course, making sure that the middle of the pack and back of the pack runners have some love. We have our pacers back there with a 3.5 hour, 3:45, 4 hour group. And I tell you, some of the most poignant emotional moments in those individuals putting everything they have from the halfway point, 6.5 mile point in the heat, with less spectators out there on the course, but to be with them and just the amount of joy and appreciation, the love they give us as pacers is fantastic. It's profound.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, you guys do. I will say I'm part of it. I've paced with you guys the past few years. So sure. I think everybody does an awesome job, not just on race day, but there's a lot of work that goes into that. I know Becky leads that way with the pace team. And what you guys do at the expo prior to that. I haven't been able to go to the expo as much because I'm out here in Folsom. So, but I'm there on race day, and everybody collectively just does an awesome job. I mean, I've done other pace jobs, I've seen other pace jobs, and none matched too legit. I mean, you're right.
Oh, thank you, man. That means a lot coming from you, Razor. And I mean, heck, you got a chance to run with a Olympic marathon medalist, a Boston marathon winner, a New York marathon winner. How freaking cool is that you had a chance? Actually, Meb was lucky to run with you. Let's keep it real. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he used to be the one saying, I ran with Razor, with Too Legit Fitness, and Wolfpack, and Vamos, for sure. Yeah.
No, that was an amazing experience. And another thing, like I said, creating a community that creates opportunities. So, hey, I'm thankful for that opportunity. I mean, anybody else could have been chosen to run with Meb. So glad I had that opportunity. And it was cool. I was able to talk to him. Very humble guy, was very open to sharing his thoughts with, within our party of pack of people that we had going. So yeah, it was definitely a memorable time. So appreciate that.
All good.
Cool. So, next I kind of want to go to your coaching aspect. I know that you kind of touched on it a little bit. You've always been a coach, a great leader at heart, like I said, but you've been taking a little bit more coach specific, athlete specific over the past few years. How has that developed? I know that you've had some certifications over the years. What made you, I would say, get a little bit more specific in the running aspect of it in dealing with different types of athletes?
Man, your questions are on point. Let's see here. Going back to earlier in our conversation, Ray, listening to your emotional compass. And when we met, I was managing probably hotels. I think I was managing 2 hotels in San Francisco. And as time wore on, listening to your inner voice and that emotional compass, I was pulled into what we are doing and talking about right now, all things health and wellness, not always specifically running. And yes, I was referred to as Coach B, but in 2016 or 2017, I got my first coaching credential through RRCA. And since then, I have 2 or 3 others. And, when I, again, listened to that inner compass, that emotional compass, and walked away from the hotel business and made some clear life changes and went all in as an endurance coach, fortunately or unfortunately, was right in the backdrop of the pandemic. So some would say the worst time to walk away from a 6-figure, 30-year career to a coaching profession, especially at the time when it was like in person, because with the pandemic, it was no bueno. So what it allowed me to do is to be resilient, resourceful, collaborate, and started a podcast. That that you were a part of that, and allowed me to partner and connect and learn best practices from some very accomplished running coaches. Coach Matt Fitzgerald, a world-renowned endurance coach and author, took me underneath his wing. In fact, we started a nonprofit back in 2021, the Coaches of Color Initiative, which is something we can talk about maybe in another podcast. Really, really good work happening there. But I found myself, as we navigated through the pandemic, the opportunity and inquiries from local athletes that wanted on-site training, at a track. And then by way of our podcast and work with my business partner, Kevin Chang, through Race Mob, we were getting inquiries from people out of area, out of state. So it allowed my coaching portfolio to grow with athletes in Texas, Virginia, Florida, New York, New Jersey, which has just been wonderful. And some of those individuals have been very fortunate to meet in person at races and have become some of my dearest friends. Some of them have made their way out here to California. I've run San Jose Rock and Roll Marathon, where you live there in Folsom. Some were just there for the California International Marathon. And it's been fantastic. The hotel business helped shape me from a business perspective in many ways, but this is where I'm supposed to be. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I love it. I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. And I touched on this earlier. Of course, you have that positive energy about you, you're high spirited, you're a natural cheerleader, for lack of a better word, but also you have an intense focus, discipline, and seriousness about you. But I think that balance of the two makes an awesome coach. So
yeah, because you can't, as a coach to coach, you just can't write the plan and just let it be.
Yeah.
You have to be in tune with the athlete. It is a collaboration. It can't be the coach's way or the highway. Yeah. If the athlete, because life is happening to all of us, work, family, illness, et cetera, sometimes if the athlete gets off track for whatever reason, if you aren't there to inquire, to connect, to maybe modify the training load, but to have some dialogue, because ultimately the athlete is going to get more well-rounded by their ability to show up and put in the work. Yeah. No one is doing anybody any good if there's a training plan out there that, for whatever reason, if the excuses are winning and we're not able to get out and engage the training, or if there's a disconnect where the coach is maybe there on autopilot and the athlete feels like, man, I haven't heard from my coach in X amount of time. I haven't gotten any comments on any of my workouts, my long runs, any of my strategic interval workouts that are predicting potentially future workout performance, race performance, then that's just not going to work. And it's real easy for me as a coach to say, if I'm working with somebody, if I have a coach, what are some of the particulars that I would like that are going to help me move the needle? And ultimately, we want to keep the athlete engaged, connected, and just able to show up and to put in the work, and where it's fun. It shouldn't be a situation where it's like, oh, I'm hating this training. Of course, sometimes it's going to be hard, but also being able to acknowledge performance, acknowledge wins, celebrate their success. And it can't always be the coach first, like, look what I did.
Yeah.
It is me. No, showcase the athlete.
Yes.
You know, put the athlete first. I feel that's how it should be. And I love that. Yeah. So just a couple examples.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think accountability and desire, but it goes both ways because the athlete has to be accountable and have that desire. But the coach also, you know, they're not taking the flowers, but they need to find that balance of, you know, giving that encouragement, creating that, you know, sense of accountability, but at the same time, kind of let that athlete flourish at the same time.
And I have to thank you. Going back when we were pacing for the San Jose half marathon, 2018, the re-release of that race series. And I think Mev at the time was part owner of it. And you did all the training curriculum when we were training there at Los Gatos High School. Remember that?
Oh yeah. That was a good time. Yeah. That was one of the starts of it too. That was the early, I don't want to say early phase, but that was one of the starts of the organic progression again of Too Legit and kind of entering that pacing realm, which was fun to see. Mm-hmm. Cool. For shifting gears a little bit, 2025, anything on the horizon? I know Taji 100's around the corner, the last year of Taji 100, 2025. Anything to add on that? On just kind of what to expect?
Man, so much.
Any little nuggets to share, or you know,
the medal,
to share with the people?
the medal is fire. The medal is fire. The shirt is on point. And Man Ray, that event started back in 2010 in Taji, Iraq. Some people don't know the full story, but just real quick, if I may, a 100-mile endurance challenge, virtual challenge. It starts February 1st through the end of the month, the last day. So if it's leap year, 29 days, which was the case last year. And over the last 2 or 3 years, we've allowed people to mix it up by being able to incorporate some cycling or swimming and rowing. And there's people like the ability to mix it up. But since we've partnered with military charities, and there's been two, initially the Wounded Warrior Project, and over the last 7 years or 8 years, it's been Team RWB. Combined through that annual month-long virtual challenge. If we hit our numbers, we will have raised over $1 million for military charities. Could not be prouder of that. Of every participant, and people don't have to. If they don't want the swag, you don't have to register and get the swag. You can just sign up and participate in the challenge. There are team challenges. There's some really cool badges, and we have seen so many people rediscover or for the first time discover their inner athlete. In some cases, it may not be Taji 100. It may be Taji 25 or Taji 50 because it allows people still early in the year to develop good, healthy habits with a profound mission and paying it forward. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about that challenge that is very near and dear to our heart. So again, kicks off February 1st.
February 1st. Yeah, that's an amazing race or just challenge, should I say, more of a challenge. But I mean, people, like you said, have started their weight loss journeys. I know a couple of people within the Too Legit community that have, you know, kicked off their wellness journey and have, you know, basically paved their new direction for their life from a health standpoint. So it's, just a remarkable platform to do that. And for a great cause as well for the wounded.
Thank you.
How about for Too Legit? Anything on the horizon for the team, you know, that they could expect to be involved in?
Well, let's see here. Too Legit, I'm going to be a grandfather in about a month and a half, man.
Wow.
That is super cool. Yeah, that's part of our wellness family. My youngest daughter Candace is expecting, and we're due, so the family is elated. Also from a Too Legit perspective, which is really cool. Ironically, every Monday evening, and this is for any of your listeners and members of our extended running wellness community, won't just say running community, we have a accountability support group. What I mean by that is 6 p.m. Pacific via Zoom, people can jump on that line and just share kind of where they are at in their own health and wellness journey. They may be chasing down a 5K PR, looking to get in a 5,000 steps, 10,000 steps a day, maybe navigating their own weight loss, maybe you're recovering from an injury or chronic illness.
Yeah.
The stories that have come out of this have been just wonderful. And periodically we'll have industry professionals come in, nutritionists, sports psychologists, strength trainers, et cetera, et cetera. So it's been wonderful. That is something that's going to continue to grow. We are going to be expanding our training resources. So we have several certified coaches. Anyone that is looking to take that next step, because does every athlete need a coach? No, you don't. And we offer, which we're very proud of, we don't charge anything to be part of Too Legit Fitness. It's always been membership free, other than sweat equity. You pay with a great attitude and you put in the work and have fun celebrating everybody else as much as we celebrate you. And someone who's crossing the finish line for their very first 5K, we celebrate them like they qualified for Boston the same way. So we just want to continue to stay true to our roots, and being able to partner with some of these other incredibly vibrant, engaging, growing running clubs, wellness clubs, and sharing best practices, having the opportunity to be a mentor. I mean, we're going to be meeting up on the 26th of this month with the Area Code Run Club. I was in conversation with one of your most recent podcast guests, Christian Morales. We're looking to do something in March. We're always doing something with their friends with the Bay Area Run Crew. And yeah, more of that to come from a collaboration standpoint. So yeah, that's really cool, and some things that are on the books for us in 2025.
Good stuff. And then I know that you always have like one or two kind of cool destination races on the calendar for you and Becky and whoever else from the team decides to join. Anything like that on the horizon?
Yeah, well, let's see here. I mentioned that some team members are making their way down to Arizona. There's a chance I may not make that trip if my daughter is early with her delivery, so I may miss that trip. But nonetheless, so we have several team members have athletes in all of the marathon majors, with the exception of the newest star in Australia. And that calendar is kind of ever evolving for myself and my partner, Coach Rebecca. Any major destination races, sometimes I could be a little last minute and make a call within a week's time and hop on a plane and embrace the sense of adventure and explore a new city on foot. And if I'm going to make that trek, it's just going to be in a half marathon or marathon. And there's some conversation, much by your example, Ray, is rolling up the sleeves, putting on the trail shoes and getting in some elevation and falling back in love with the trails, because there's so many trails down here, much as you know, Quicksilver, Alum Rock. I can go on and on, but you can see more trail running on the horizon. Could be in a race, but also seeing our team members training or just embracing Mother Nature from a trail aspect.
Yeah, I would love to collaborate on that too as well. I'm more focused on the trails right now, and I think just for the foreseeable future, I'm still going to be running, some road races to keep fitness. But even just from just a community aspect, it's an awesome community. It's a really growing community right now, which is
for
cool
sure.
To see. Great mental health benefits, as any type of running does. But there's just something about being on the trails that just breathes life in me. So,
yeah, man, you like hard shit. You do. And let me call you out here. This young man, his debut marathon, 2013?
Was it 13? I think, yeah, it was 13. It was
2013 in April, the Big Sur Marathon. Yep. And what did you run? Sub 3:15?
Yeah, I didn't know what I was doing.
Man, you got
20 something miles a week or something.
But that raw talent, man, that you have honed in, and it's been just great to see your progression in the health and wellness space as a avid long distance runner, seeing you take multiple podiums overall, seeing your sister who ran locally, ran at Boise State, your brother who was a professional soccer player, to see the three of you, after you had ran Boston maybe 2 times prior, everyone qualify, and for the 3 Avalo siblings to run freaking Boston, not just run it, but to run in the same race in the same year. Profound.
Yeah.
Fantastic, man.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Thanks.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
We're
And your
actually,
mother, your mom.
oh, yeah. Yeah.
Mom is a savage. Yeah. CIM marathon, Quicksilver 50K.
Yeah.
You know, where your pops, you know, Abbott's coached you in soccer. I mean, I'm flipping the script here. It's like I'm taking over the podcast.
Yeah, my mom's still doing a ton of hiking, so
Yeah.
she's loving it out there in Tahoe. We're actually bringing the gang back together in May 3rd. I forget the exact day. I need to look at it, but I want to say that May 30th time frame.
Yeah.
We're doing the Reno Odyssey Relay, so it's around.
Yeah.
So, we're doing the six-man relay. So my brother, my sister will be on the team. We have myself, my uncle Mike, and then we have my buddy Justin Johnson, JJ.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And then we're still looking for one more. So if anybody wants to join a team,
I'm sure you get it covered, man. How are you feeling, by the way? Belated happy birthday, everybody. His birthday was yesterday, and over the weekend he ran 41 miles. Yeah, man. With that elevation gain, that pace, and respect, Ray.
Thanks.
Yeah. And so modest. You talk about me, oh, coach, you know, you're a good guy, you know, good people skills, you know, connect and all. Man, you are as humble as they get, you know. Yeah. Like, I don't know, silent assassin, man, but man. And when you do not want to be your shoes laced up to him on the road or on the trails, he will smile at you, but he's got a lot of dog in him. And likes to get after it. And we love how you are paying it forward, Ray, in this format, bringing on people in the health and wellness space, allowing them to share their story, has been profound. And we all love the gear, man. So keep up the good work. And I mean, husband, father of 2, working professional, you find the time to do what makes you happy. And we can see that this is clearly a area and a space where you are paying it back to the running community. And we're very grateful for it.
Yeah, it's definitely a passion project for me. You know, of course, you know, one, I like the hats, but it's not about the gear. It's more about having a community like this. I love talking to different people. I love learning from different people. I love listening to podcasts. I think people such as yourself, you know, just sharing your thoughts and just giving a voice for the people to listen. I think, you know, it's something that I'm just doing what I enjoy. So kind of how you started.
Yeah.
We'll see what happened. No expectation. This is all just fun for me. So last bit here, last question for you. Off the top of the head, you may have one already. What's your 2025 mantra?
And that's an excellent question. I'll keep it simple, you know, because as a coach and somebody who is looking to talk the talk and walk the walk, it's real easy to live vicariously through your running community and to forget about yourself. So as many events as I participate in, you still have to, you know, you can't just talk about it. You got to be about it, you know? And that goes back to the inception of our crew, our squad, and working to silence the excuses, because we all have them. And in many cases, those excuses are very legit, pun intended. But if you listen to those excuses, if you listen to that negative self-talk, you'll find yourself in the same space. So if you're happy where you're at, then don't change a thing. But if you are not, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always have what you got. Yeah. That means is switch it up and get out of your comfort zone, get outdoors, you know, ask a family member, ask a friend, join a running club, as you know, subscribe to this podcast, ask other people to listen and subscribe. Just show up for yourself, because a healthier and happier you is better for everybody else in your life. So for me, taking a bit of my own advice, and, you know, don't just talk about it, be about it. So show up, for myself as I show up for others. You know,
I love that.
So yeah,
the mantra that never dies: be about it. That's
yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, thanks, Coach B, man. You know I love you. You know I appreciate you, and I can't thank you enough for the time and fun here today.
Pleasure's all mine. Keep up the good work, man.
All right,
do it again
thanks,
in the
buddy.
future.
See ya.